the members later. Okay. Now, once again, thank you for joining me in this TradeBSA weekly training over here. So again, I apologize because I need to postpone, right, two of the section, including the today one, VCP setup, and next week poker pivot. So by right, I should complete this topic or module by November actually, but due to we got this thank you Lo for the confirmation on the sound, because we got this GA15 happening 2 weeks ago, and then of course the public holidays as well, so I have to postpone to this week, okay, for the VCP and poker pivot signals. Okay, so all right, hopefully for most of our members over here, if you have watching this through recording later on, right, hopefully you still remember the past few weekly tradings that we have conducted previously. I think the one in October, okay, it's very important for you to understand the basic of what is TradeBSA or maybe the bond spread analysis. Now, this series over here, the 3 topics here, like I say, is more slightly a bit advanced technical, right? If you find it a bit difficult to understand the concept, or maybe difficulty to read these 3 type of signals over here, don't worry, go back again to the November section. Watch again the recording. I do send out the link over there. And once you watch already, you come back again to watch these 3 video later on. Okay, now let's look back into what is shakeout patterns. Okay, now like I said, I have a small group today, okay, and including Mr. Chan here joining me right now. So any members here still a bit confused what is shakeout actually? Okay, if you're still confused, not sure, you type a 1 for me. Right, if you think that, yeah, I'm pretty confident already what is shakeout, I know how to identify already, type a 2 for me. Okay, don't worry, just let me know, at least I know that moving forward, should I have enough section or not? Moving forward, should I have more case study or not? Okay, I just want to know, should I include again this topic of shakeout, right? Alan said 1, okay, because recently we actually got a lot of shakeout counters. Okay, if you see my posting to notice board over there, most of my patterns right now is shakeout. Like I say, during this kind of weak market, uncertainty markets, one of the popular trade setups is shakeout. Okay, I think evergreen also hit resistance. Of course, sometimes it cannot break, but if you want to aim for some quick profit type from resistance to support, I think shakeout is a very good type of patterns you probably want to monitor. Okay, if you look into like BIG, okay, I didn't really post BIG, but I think I mentioned about BIG last month, if I'm not mistaken, because I asked you all to watch out for the shakeout. Yes, it do a shakeout also. I think per cut, okay, today this point I think make a small up bar over there, okay, make a pullback again, if I'm not mistaken, towards the lunchtime just now in the afternoon section. Well, this few kind of counters you probably want to watch out, like Haptic also, after shakeout it hit resistance, I think around like 31 cents yesterday. Okay, so make sure you're familiar what is shakeout. If you like say, if you're still not sure, you just let me know. Okay, probably after I completed this section or this series over here, I can look into it again. Okay, now today we'll purely focus on VCP. Now, what is VCP is actually is volatility contraction patterns. Okay, this pattern here actually is developed and by this trader called Mark Minervini. Okay, he's very good, okay, by using this VCP over here. Now, the reason why we teach members using VCP is that there are a few things actually they are aligned, okay, with the concept of bond spread analysis, because they look into first the volume, and second, of course, the market stages. Now, for me personally, I use it also VCP for my own trading, but to be fair, recently, especially like this year, we rarely see VCP in the market. Yeah, I mean KRC. Okay, of course, the other market like Singapore market, I think you still can able to find 1 or 2 pretty good VCP. Hong Kong wise, not really, because Hong Kong also in a much like a downtrend going into the bottom accumulation type. US market, yes, definitely for those looking into US market, you can apply this concept as well. Now, KRC, like I say, since I think early of last year, I rarely see VCP. Okay, I rarely see VCP. Now, the reason why I still shared it is because we never know, when market will change, or why referring to the market stages. So hopefully with this market currently, because now currently KRC is pretty bullish right now. Okay, let's say that. hopefully we'll see more VCP coming in later on. Okay, maybe somewhere around like January, February, or maybe next year March or April. Okay, because VCP you need to see there is a certain criteria in the background, okay, before you can apply. Now, what is actually VCP? Again, this is the program objective we will go through today. Okay, first of all, I'll explain to you what is VCP, okay, and how to identify VCP. Now, this is again what's the things that we want to look into, right, for today's section over here. Okay, now what is VCP? Okay, VCP actually happens during a consolidation period, okay, which is I'm referring to reaccumulation. Okay, and it's a resting period from a strong market movement. Okay, which means before VCP or before reaccumulation happened, we already see an uptrend. Okay, so again, when a stock's going up, okay, few things that we want to look into to ensure there's healthiness in the chart. First, we want to see healthy pullback. Okay, and after a series of pullback, maybe 2 or 3 pullback, we prefer to see reaccumulation, which means they're moving sideways for a while. Some can take like 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, okay, depending on the type of stocks before they breaks up further. Okay, now counters like XDX, okay, they make a very nice kind of pullback, goes up and then pullback and goes up, reaccumulation. This is some of the things that we want to see, okay, whenever we want to check whether the trend is still healthy or not. Okay, counters like XDX, JSB, okay, make a nice reaccumulation before they break up further into this so-called the uptrend. Okay, so you can actually check this free chart out. Okay, when the price decreases in both volatility and volume, the price will form contracted patterns. Okay, which means each time when you see when volume and the price actually decrease, okay, you can see actually the range, okay, is getting narrow. Okay, I'll share with you later on what it means. Now, great volatility on the left hand side compared to right hand side. Okay, because during this VCP, okay, let's say VCP actually happens during this so-called reaccumulation. Okay, price will goes up and they'll move sideways. Okay, and this sideways here is very important. Okay, we want to see the so-called this pullback here, okay, is getting smaller, smaller, and smaller. Okay, so which means that over this here, okay, point number 3, okay, you want to see less volatility on the right hand side, which means on the right hand side, you want to see the range is getting narrower, getting smaller compared to the left hand side. When the range is getting bigger or greater volatility, which means there's still got plenty of sellers in the market. Okay, so that's why the movement is pretty big, because people sell, and then small range try to push up again, people sell again, push up again. Okay, so when the range is getting smaller, this is one of the signs to tell us that, yeah, maybe the sell is getting lesser. Okay, the price didn't really push lower. Okay, there's immediate support coming in, okay, by smart money, and chances for them to break above is pretty good. Okay, now this contraction appear as a squeeze in price action until spike in volume send it to a major breakout. Okay, now this spike in volume sometimes can come with poker pivot. Okay, I put PP lah, poker pivot. I kind of like it whenever I see this, like a reaccumulation, okay, VCP especially, and it actually comes with a poker pivot bar. Okay, poker pivot bar, don't worry, I'll explain what is poker pivot bar by next week. Okay, but just that I just want to give you ideas that all this kind of stuff can be combined together. Okay, VCP, poker pivot, and most of the time if you see this, price actually will go into likely to go into a continuation, okay, on this uptrend over here. Okay, now so far so good. Type A for me, yes. Type B for me, no. Type A, yes. Type B, no. Okay, so far so good. You all understand, right? The concept of VCP. Okay, thank you, Alan. Okay, so far only Alan. How about others? Okay, I got Mr. Chang over here, Crystal, Lo, and Wendy. Okay, thank you, Lo. Okay, now let's go into this so-called conceptual map over here. Now this is few things we're going to look into. First, the price goes up in this uptrend, right? So again, normally price going into this strong uptrend, pullback is expected. Okay, again, pullback, reaccumulation. So what happens is that the price will drop, make a big pullback, retest resistance, and subsequently retest again to this period support. So most of the time we will see some upthrust over here. Okay, so this is representing the potential distributions going on. Okay, and this is the part that you want to see, is there any SP spring? Okay, or maybe any line change. Okay, to show that maybe the other group of smart money are interested. Okay, so once this happened, the price will try to retest again, drop, okay, and subsequently break, okay, with a pocket pivot. Okay, most of the time we'll see a pocket pivot over here, right? So that's why pocket pivot is always a sign that potentially there is a continuation, okay, in the trend. Now this is a part that we want to monitor, okay, whether this low here is getting higher, okay, or they are almost equal or same. Okay, when the low over here is getting higher, okay, again, this representing that this period over here, the seller is getting lesser. Okay, because sometimes during this reaccumulation, you notice that the reaccumulation is like this, goes up, okay, or some even like, they will stay over here for some times, retest again, stay over here for some times. Okay, so this is normally tells you that there's no much of the interest in buyer, okay, or probably seller is still around, so they need time to do shakeout or accumulation. So when you see the price getting higher, okay, each time when they retest support getting higher, this means that the seller in this area here is reducing. Okay, so chances for them to break is very high. Okay, now one thing that we now know is that how many actually so-called this kind of pullback will happen during this VCP period. Okay, sometimes it can be like 2 area. Okay, for example here, price goes up, okay, 1, 2 before it goes up. Okay, some can be 3 or 4. Okay, it can goes up like this, 1, they try to goes up but seller still around, they push back again, right? The test, seller still around, but this round the seller is getting lesser. So in this range over here, in the middle halfway here, they able to push back up, okay, and final one before they break. Okay, so sometimes it can be 4, sometimes it can be 2, sometimes it can be 3. Okay, so again, we will never know how many times of pullback they will do, okay, in these periods over here. Okay, but one thing for sure is that every time when they're going up higher, okay, this is telling me that yes, the seller is reducing. So few things usually I would like to do is that I would like to look for, is there any potential sell strength, okay, for me to look into, to look for my entry. Okay, I think today got one of the very good VCP setups. Okay, potentially VCP is LGMS. Okay, and today they actually form NS. Okay, they actually form NS. So this is, like I said, this is the area that I want to look for. Is there any NS? Is there any spring? Okay, for me to look for the potential entry. Okay, now this is VCP setup over here. Let me just post this up here. Okay, now there are a few things that we want to look into and understand how actually it works. Okay, now first of all, like I said, VCP always started when there's a strong uptrend in the background. Okay, so this is first point, strong uptrend in the background where the price goes up. Okay, depending like, let's say the counters already move like 50% or maybe 100%, right? So most of the time they need to do reaccumulation. Okay, they need to remove maybe some group of sellers before they're able to push again, right, to the higher prices. Okay, so background must become with a strong uptrend. Okay, now normally what happens is that we will see upthrust over here. Okay, volume is high, of course, or even before upthrust, sometimes we will see something like buying climax. Okay, everyone here know what is buying climax? Type a 1 for me, yes, if you know what is buying climax. Type a B for me if you're not sure what is buying climax. BC lah, I put BC, buying climax. Anyone here what is buying? Anyone know what is buying climax? Okay, good. So normally when we see buying climax followed by upthrust, there's a sign of potentially there's distributions going on, or maybe beginning of sideways reaccumulation. Okay, now the second things to look for is that the first pullback area. So this is the area, okay, the first pullback areas. Okay, price may drop below 2040s, okay, which is I think is pretty normal, because again, most of the time, if let's say a counter break more than 100%, okay, sometimes the pullback can be 30%, 40% before they spring back up again. Okay, so here can be 30 or maybe even to 50%. So technically, they will break the 20-40-day moving average. Okay, now drop with high volume. Okay, the price of the SO over here will normally drop with high volume, but when they started to go lower, okay, to this area over here, you want to see volume decreasing with no spread. Okay, so what it means, okay, so here drop with high volume is this part. Okay, notice that after upthrust it dropped with high volume. Okay, sometimes it can be 1 bar, 2 bar, or 3 bar. Again, depending on the nature of the stocks. Okay, some stock go up 300%, the pullback will be very, very big one. Okay, if let's say you only go up 50%, probably drop 20%, so sometimes we can only see 1 or 2 sell bar. Okay, now the second thing is that you want to see volume getting lower again. Okay, the candles become more narrow, so this means that the selling pressure is slowly, decreasing, and subsequently build some support around this area. Okay, of course, in this here, we prefer to see counters signal like SP. Okay, to ensure that there is a support coming in. Okay, but again, this is a period that is very tricky. Okay, okay, let me erase this period here. Now this period here is very tricky because we're not sure whether it's a pure distribution or reaccumulation yet. Okay, so that's why I think step 3 and 4 is very important for you to identify first, okay, before you want to look into it. Okay, now what happens is that in this area over here is that how, okay, now this is how and why VCP form reaccumulation. Okay, now assuming in market over here, this is stock A. Okay, this is stock A lah, assuming, right? We got hundreds of weekend holders currently, in this periods here, in this area here. Okay, now what I mean by weekend holder, it can be like those like looking for T+3. Okay, those that probably want to sell at resistance, those that probably they have been trapped previously long time ago, they don't want to hold any longer than to sell. Okay, this is the type that this is the weekend holders, okay, that we often see in the market. So what happens is that, okay, on the first round when it goes up, okay, the price drop, this is the one that usually most of the weekend holder will be removed. Okay, this is the so-called the weakest, okay, weakest weekend holders, okay, in this market here. Okay, mostly they will exit from the market because they're afraid that already earned 10% from here because T+3. Okay, it dropped. I don't want to exit with losses. I want to exit with small profit. I don't want to hold more than 3 days. I don't want to hold more than 5 days. I just exit. Okay, so this is what it means. Okay, the first round of the removal. Okay, so that's why usually the first round after the uptrend here often is the biggest pullback because there's lots of weekend holders, okay, in this market at the moment. Okay, now the second one, once they goes up already, they'll try to remove the second batch. The second batch can be people like, yeah, I don't mind holding, okay, but I see resistance already. Okay, so maybe I exit first. Okay, I don't want to hold any longer on the switch counter because they have been moving for 2 months already. I cannot tahan already. I want to exit. Okay, so they will try to remove the second batch. Okay, so you remove another 20 people out from the market. Okay, again, this process is going to continue to repeat. Okay, it goes up again. Okay, still got some seller over here. They try to remove, and finally the last one. Okay, the last one usually is the area that have a small group of people, okay, which is the final one before they're able to break above this resistance over here. Okay, so that's why VCP, whenever you see this kind of formation in chart, this is again telling you that there is a potential, okay, good sound showing in the background. Okay, and if you pair together with pocket pivot, this signal here actually is very easy to read and send you a very clear message that, okay, seller, first of all, seller is reducing, okay, and smart money are ready to break this resistance. Okay, so hopefully you understand this, but this is just an example. Doesn't mean that, you know, first round they will remove 60 people. Okay, doesn't mean this, but what I'm trying to share over here is that usually the first one is the one that consists of, you know, most of the weekend holders. That's why the first one usually is the biggest pullback, okay, during this VCP periods here. Okay, now the range over here is very important for us. So like I say, VCP should be, you know, when they go into this resistance, or maybe after several months of reaccumulation, the volatility should get lesser, okay, or get smaller, the range getting smaller. Okay, now if you those study about chart pattern, this is a bit similar triangle. I think what flag, if not mistaken. Okay, so break above this flag over here is a good sign. Okay, kind of similar like VCP over here as well, but I like VCP concept because they look into this volume as well. Okay, now very important is that in this range over here, again, first range, okay, most of the time is the biggest range, okay, because it comes with greater volatility. Okay, so first one, usually you will see, you know, around like 30%. Okay, example, just a number over here. Now, how to ensure the VCP getting stronger is that you want to see the second one, okay, the percentage is getting lower. Okay, best is that you want to see half of the previous pullback. Okay, so example over here, this is 30%. Over here should be around 15%. Okay, half. Okay, or maybe sometimes they fail again because of got uptrust, got sellers, they drop with 12%. Okay, and the final one is 4%. Okay, so again, this is also showing you sign of this, the trend is getting stronger. Okay, the seller is really reducing and they are ready, okay, to challenge or at least to break above the resistance. Okay, so yes, first thing, getting narrower. Okay, second, you want to calculate, okay, the range, okay, in terms of percentage. Okay, best is that you want to see it reduce at least by half. Okay, so example here, if let's say this number 4 here, right? If let's say it's 15%, okay, you want to see here, okay, this last part over here, number 5, is in between 7 to 8%. Okay, again, this is a few things that is sending a strong signals that yes, they are ready to break the resistance. Okay, so now, like I said, never assume that, you know, whenever we see here, okay, VCP, you're going to form soon, so we enter early, because sometimes it can be a pure distribution. Okay, so sometimes what happens, the market goes up, okay, uptrust, then goes lower. Okay, this is what we call inverse pullback. Okay, now what I do is that I normally like to say at least there's 2 rounds of VCP. Okay, 2 rounds of the shakeout over here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and enter somewhere around here. Okay, because this giving me more confidence that yeah, they are doing reaccumulation. I'm not trading in downtrend counters. Okay, now so that's why point number 6 and 7 is very important for you to monitor subsequently, but it's going to happen. So point number 6 is that volume spread down by low volume. Okay, which means whenever the price goes lower to test support, you should able to see volume is getting lower. Okay, so best is like something like COC, if you know about COC. Okay, best is like COC. The volume is very low. Okay, showing that there's no potential sellers coming in this down bar over here. Okay, and the up bar increasing volume from support. Okay, which means that this part over here, it shows that there is a interest, okay, by smart money, okay, to at least hold above the support level. Okay, sorry, anyone here still can following me? Type A yes, type B no. Okay, because percent, I think 6.6 and 7 is very important. Okay, for those that want to trade VCP before breakout. Okay, VCP before breakout. Sometimes I do trade VCP before breakout, but one thing is that you need to hold. Okay, so like I said, I don't really know how many rounds of shakeout they would take. Sometimes can be takes like it takes like 4 to 5 times, and each of these wave over here can takes around like 1 month. Okay, so if let's say go 4 or 5, probably 4 to 5 months already. Okay, so for me, I always like to look into this area, got high volume that I feel more safer, okay, for me to look for the entry. Okay, so now let's look into some chart over here. This is E frame before they break out in this area here. Okay, so let's say recently here I see not much of the VCP counter to look into. Okay, of course today we got LGMS, we can look into that later on. So first, strong uptrend in the background. Okay, so sometimes we see uptrend, sometimes we don't. It goes lower. Okay, again, this is a part that you probably want to avoid. You don't want to enter first. Okay, very risky because sometimes it can be a continuation of downtrend. Okay, now I feel, like I said, I feel more safer if I see there is an up bar. Okay, of course, go Pentagon over here with increasing volume. Okay, so this shows that now this down bar over here, this down bar over here come with low volume. Notice. Okay, and this up bar over here come with increasing volume. Okay, again, it tells you that smart money are still keen to support in this area over here. Okay, before they make another round. Okay, now this is the pocket pivot that I will cover next week. Okay, and subsequently break. Okay, and continue. Okay, in this uptrend. Okay, type A for me again if you understand so far for E frame. Type a B for me if you need me to repeat. Okay, thank you, Nigel. Okay, so for only Nigel, huh? Okay, thank you, Mr. Chan. Okay, so now this is another one. This is from XGX market. Okay, so let's say XGX market also got this kind of VCP lately. Hong Kong market, I don't think so. Because I think they are mostly this year they are in the bear market. So here goes up, strong uptrend, right? So big gap down. Okay, again, risky for you to enter immediately into this area. We never know whether it will make an inverse pullback or not. Okay, so the safest way is that we wait for at least 2 rounds, 1, 2. Okay, so again, this area you want to watch out very closely. Okay, I think here got more obvious volume coming in. Notice here the volume on this up bar here, so increasing before this kind of high volume able to break and continue. Okay, in this uptrend here. Okay, so we got 1, 2. Okay, so here is considered 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 VCP before they break. Okay, and continue in the uptrend. Okay, so again, you want to check also the percentage over here. Okay, this big percentage. Okay, here getting smaller. Okay, and here definitely getting smaller. Okay, again, best is that you want to see half of the range. Okay, compared to the previous one. Okay, so in summary, okay, what is VCP pattern is that VCP is a sign of re-accumulation uptrend. Okay, we want to see less volatility on the right hand side compared to the left hand side. This shows that the side is reducing, and they are ready, okay, to change on the resistance again. Now, breakup with high volume is a good sign for continuation of trend, and this is what we call the pocket pivot bar, which we're going to talk about this pocket pivot next week. Okay, now for my remaining of my time over here, probably I will look into some chart. Like I say, so far today, I think I can only spot LGMS. Okay, hopefully they will show a continuation soon. Okay, so here, okay, first of all, we look into this background. Okay, we got a strong uptrend in the background. Okay, so we got upthrust, okay, from a resistance. So what happens after this upthrust resistance? Price make a big drop. Okay, let me calculate over here. Okay, from this resistance to the bottom is around 28%. Okay, so here we do have one spring holding a support, but let's say this is the first round that usually I feel a bit risky to enter because sometimes they will push up thrust again, inverse pullback. All right, so what I do is that I would like to see more sanctions coming in, especially high volume upbound. Okay, remember the point number 7. So here we got 1. Okay, line change, trying the resistance area. Okay, the price drop again, push back again. Okay, notice here also we got some increasing volume, including today. Okay, volume slowly increasing back on this up bar. Okay, so likely we will see two VCP over here, right? 1, 2. Okay, but again, not sure whether we will see number 3 or not. Okay, so sometimes yes, it will form another one. So here is the one that you want to see, you want to check whether is there any sell weaknesses coming or not. Okay, if let's say got uptrust, you want to avoid first. If not, yeah, we can actually check whether you in our chart whether there's any green pentagon for you to trade. Okay, so there's GMS. Okay, let's try XDX. Okay, but XDX, this is not VCP. Okay, I think here we got one VCP. This is I think somewhere around mid of this year. Okay, so here. Okay, so some say that VCP is similar to shakeout. Yes, it's actually similar to shakeout also. Right here, 1, 2. Okay, notice the second one is getting smaller compared to the first one. Okay, once it break with high volume, okay, here, increasing volume, then we will see continuation of the trend. Okay, now up and coming one that I'm looking into is Hexstar. Okay, Hexstar Industry. So if you notice as well, okay, goes up price, goes climatically. First one, okay, now this is the part that I feel not really comfortable to enter, but today this bar here, sorry, the bar from yesterday come with increasing volume, so it looks like the support is coming back. Okay, again, not sure, probably they'll do another round. Let me just write over here. Probably they will do another round first, second, before the break. Okay, but the second one, preferable to hold above, okay, compared to this first one over here. Okay, so from this the highest point, okay, for Hexstar Industry to this spring bar here, actually make a pullback of 22%. Okay, now assuming we are looking into half of pullback, right? So which means around 11%. So we can roughly calculate from here to here 11%. So this is a strong pullback areas. Okay, probably you want to focus and monitor. Okay, of course you don't want to enter immediately if let's say they pull back. So sometimes what I want to see is that they pull back, but they continue to show, you know, signals like NS test. Okay, for me to look for entry like a GMS today. Okay, so I think ATAG, let's try ATAG few more before we close our section, or maybe if you got any questions for me. Now for ATAG, they are more coming from accumulation. Okay, so I don't see any potential VCP over here, but this is like a breakout already for AirTag. Okay, anyway, it's a good counter for you to watch out. SFP tag. Oh, so fast. SFP tag actually gone. Okay, I only focus on NS for SFP tag. I didn't realize they actually got a VCP also. But this is a nice VCP. Okay, here 1, 2. Okay, notice the range getting smaller, break. Okay, so first one, this is a really nice VCP. I think better than LGMS, but do they really break with UT so aim for the next pullback, okay, if you want to. Okay, so here, first one, we actually pull back with 26%, second 12%. Okay, notice the third one is around 8%. Okay, last one, before they break with line change or pocket pivot, is around 5%. Okay, so we want to see each round here is getting smaller. Okay, preferable half of the previous wave. Okay, so this again sends a message that the trend is good. Okay, the reaccumulation is good, likely to break resistance. Okay, Evergreen and Pentec. Okay, let's try this two But Evergreen is not a VCP Evergreen is from this accumulation. Okay, this is more like a shakeout. Okay, for Evergreen is a shakeout patterns. Okay, Evergreen is shakeout pattern, or probably you want to look into the reversal pattern also. Okay, here we got high volume, price pushed up. Okay, NS. Okay, but very close to resistance. So currently is still right 50-50. Okay, whether they will break or not. Okay, but if let's say you entered by the time I posted to members group around NS area, I think should be fine. Okay. So if you entered after the NS somewhere around this area over here, so currently you up around like 7 to 8%. Okay, so you can actually consider to take some profit whenever it hits the resistance. Okay, let's do into Pentec. I think Pentec is reaccumulation. Okay, but not sure whether it's a VCP or not. Okay, so let's check. Oh yes, I think this is also a VCP. Okay, actually I do follow Pentec, but I didn't realize it's actually also a VCP. So here, one, okay, looks like a second one here. Okay, and let's see. Okay, yeah, they actually break this area here. Okay, nice one. This is a VCP with Pentec also. So high volume break, okay, increasing volume, right? So probably on the way for next pullback, okay, and we will see likely there's a continuation. Okay, now one thing also do bear in mind is that doesn't mean every time they need to test the major resistance. Close resistance also considered okay, right? So like for example, in this case over here, because Pentec from the top to this bottom here is around 25%, 26%. So sometimes because of the range is big, so it doesn't mean that they have to like hit try resistance. They only consider as VCP. So close to resistance also consider. Okay, in this case over here is also considered as a VCP too. Okay, any other questions about VCP, or maybe any other counters that you think they are forming VCP right now? Pentec is a good one. Okay, but this one sudah jalan Pentec sudah jalan. Dayang, let's try. Okay, so yeah, VCP setup definitely you need a little bit of practice, okay, to notice it. Okay, like I say, currently we don't see a lot VCP in KRC, but who knows, right? Because market is trending right now, counters like oil and gas is moving right now. Maybe later on, okay, we'll have like 1 or 2 months of reaccumulation. So this is whether you want to focus, okay, in VCP. Now, right now, yes, there's a lot of counter doing shakeout, okay, but moving forward, probably it will change, okay, because the market stage change. Okay, let's try front can D-Sonic. Okay, front can D-Sonic before we close. Okay, now what do you think about front can? What is the setup currently? Okay, now let's say every time when we want to study a chart, right, we always look into market stages. Okay, I put it as stages. Okay, can anyone here share with me what's the market stages for front can? Yes, this is stage 1, right? So this is stage 1 accumulation. Okay, I put it 1, stage 1 accumulation. Now, the second thing is that we look into setups. Okay, after stages, we look into setup. What is the setups we can spot from front can? Okay, what is the setups that we can spot? Yes, there's a shakeout, right? So here, okay, we got one shakeout over here. Then the break. Okay, now break ready. What is the things we should look for? Okay, assuming you missed the shakeout, so after this shakeout, what's the thing you should look for? Yes, pullback. Okay, so we want to look for pullback. We want to look for COC. Okay, now that's setups. Okay, now if I look into the previous chart over here on the left hand side, probably yes, I think this one kind of like a VCP. Let's see. Okay, smaller time frame here, yes, for smaller time frame here. Okay, here 1, 2, getting smaller, right? So here it break. Okay, smaller time frame here considered as a VCP. Okay, here first one, it dropped 10%. Okay, second one, it dropped around 9%. Okay, 11 to 9%. Still getting lower. It break. Okay, but after break, okay, if you see this, you have to chop it already. Yeah, failed reaccumulation or failed VCP. Usually you will see a shakeout or distribution. Okay, so okay, now let's look into the other counters that you have for me. D-Sonic. Okay, we look into D-Sonic before we close. Okay, let's look into the latest one. Okay, now D-Sonic. Okay, let me zoom up a little bit. Okay, D-Sonic is a setup that usually I feel a bit confusing, but it's okay. Based on this current chart over here, this time frame over here, what is the market stages? Okay, I put it stages. What do you think of the market stages? Stage 1, 2, 3, or 4? Okay, anyone? Okay, yes, it's a stage 1. Okay. Reaccumulation. Yeah, you can say it's a reaccumulation, but long-term wise, I think still they are in accumulation over here. Okay, yes, definitely stage 1. Now, in terms of setups wise, right? So here we got 2 shakeout. Okay, so this is not VCP. Okay, let me erase. Yeah, I don't think this is VCP. Not a very clear, because the background didn't show a very clear trend also. Okay, now VCP. Yeah, okay, so this is more like a shakeout in reaccumulation. Okay, is there anything else that you want me to cover before we close, or maybe any stocks that you want me to look into? Okay, so let's say VCP is, recently, I mean, this 1 or 2 years is, we don't have much of this VCP setups, but market is going up right now. Okay, so probably 2 or 3 months from now, you will see lots of reaccumulation stocks. So that's where that you want to focus VCP. Now, VCP for me helped me a lot. I think around like 2 or 3 years ago. Remember the time we have a big movement in glove counters, but I'm looking into all the tech counters. The time I think Grad Tech, Jeff Tech, VS Tech, all this kind of counter actually do a nice reaccumulation VCP and subsequent to breakout. Okay, that was like 2 or 3 years ago, because the time we have a very good super trends there. Okay, so hopefully moving forward we'll see that also. Okay, and VCP later on. Okay, so that you can apply these methods. Okay. All right, so if let's say there's no any other questions, I will close my section here today. So once again, thank you for joining me in this section here. Do let me know if you've got any other questions so that I can prepare, okay, in the upcoming weekly trainings. All right, thank you everyone, and I'll see you in the next section.